Stop hatching brine shrimp? Seriously? Yeah. If you're tired of the salt, the bubbling, aerators, the constant cleaning, I'm about to show you a set it and forget it live food source that you can use that most people have never even thought about. Some people already contain this live food source in their aquarium. These are baby Amano shrimp larvae. That's right. Amano shrimp can have over 1,000 babies in your freshwater aquarium. If you have Amano shrimp for algae control in your aquascape or even your community tank, you've probably seen them get pregnant. And if you've got fish, you may have noticed that those babies never actually appear once they're hatched. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how you can use these baby Amano shrimp to supplement, or in some cases, to even replace hatching brine shrimp to use for your fish. So right here, I've got basically a biological factory that produces thousands of highly nutritious, highly scrumptious, highly desirable free swimming larvae. And they do that once a month for each female. And if you've never thought about it before, it's definitely a nutritious option for your fish. Now, why would we use something like these Amano shrimp larvae in place of brine shrimp? Specifically from a nutritional perspective, when you're looking at baby Amano shrimp, I know exactly what the parents of these Amano shrimp have been eating. And I'm the one that's been feeding the parents. Whereas with brine shrimp, you may or may not know this, brine shrimp only produce the eggs that we use in the hobby when they're in bad conditions. That's right, in poor, unfavorable conditions, brine shrimp produce eggs. But if brine shrimp are perfectly healthy and happy and enjoying life, they have live birth. So not a lot of people know that. Now, do we know for sure what the adult brine shrimp were eating before they laid those eggs? We don't. We don't know if the bad conditions were a lack of food, maybe temperature. All we know is that the parents had some sort of issue that led them to eventually producing those cysts that are collected and used in the hobby as food. So if you have a mono shrimp and you don't plan on breeding them, meaning you don't plan on raising these larvae into adult shrimp, then you've got other options. So we're going to highlight and showcase that today here in the video. I think it's going to be fun. So this, again, and what we're looking at here is some newly hatched larvae. These were actually born last night, and these are from my yellow Amano shrimp. And we've currently got a really big batch of yellow Amano shrimp that's going. And we're going to be using these to feed some fish. Now, you might be thinking yellow Amano shrimp to feed fish, but they're so rare. Yeah, well, I mean, I've got other female Amano shrimp that are also going to have thousands of babies probably within the next few days. So I'm not a mass producer or mass seller of Amano shrimp or anything like that. So I do this fairly often. Now, the way that I'm going to be doing it here in the video is I'm going to be using this reusable K-cup. As you can see, I've just got it clamped to the side of this aquarium. And I'm just going to simply use a turkey baster to collect the larvae as they're drawn into the light from this flashlight I've got just above the aquarium. And then I'm going to be removing them from the main water column here and then just slowly putting the water through this K-cup here, and that's going to trap all of the larvae inside the K-cup. Whether you're breeding the Amano shrimp to raise the baby larva or not, that is a very economical way to move them that doesn't require a whole lot of elbow grease, and it's certainly easier than a lot of the other methods that I've seen used in the past with these baby Amano shrimp. So If you've never thought about doing this before, I know a lot of people, it never really occurs to them because they never see the larva because it gets eaten by their fish so quickly. And maybe you've got a pregnant female and you might be keeping your young fry or juvenile fish separately than your community aquarium, and the adults are getting all the benefits of these little tiny brine shrimp sized meals. And maybe you want to save them or keep them separate, these larvae, so that your baby fish can enjoy them. So this is a great way that you can do that. It's pretty easy to do, and I'm going to show you that here on the live stream. Now, the tool of choice I'm going to be using is a regular fluval waste remover, aka a fancy turkey baster. And it's as easy as it looks. You're just going to suck the larvae into the turkey baster and deposit them into the K cup. I mean, it's really so simple. A kid could do this. And the Amano shrimp take care of all of the hard work for you. For the most part, a majority of people at some point are feeding their fish with brine shrimp, whether you're doing it just kind of as a nutritional supplement for some adults, or in most cases, once you get into having baby fish. And a lot of people, when they get into the hobby, we get started with something like a guppy or a platy or some kind of live bear, and we end up with baby fish. So this is just an excellent option that isn't thought about very often. And unlike Neocaridina shrimp, that the brand new babies are like, fresh baby shrimp that can handle themselves in your aquarium for the most part. These Amano shrimp larvae, if I don't move them over to saltwater, they're only going to survive for about 2, maybe 3 days before they perish unless they're in salt water. So utilizing them in this manner really is a natural alternative to just letting the adults consume them once they are no longer alive. Now, that is a question that gets brought up quite a bit, is do the Amano shrimp eat the babies? They do not from what I've seen. And trust me, I've spent a lot of time staring at Amano shrimp. I have not seen the adults attack and consume the babies in my aquariums, and I've got several of these small Amano shrimp breeding setups that, just contain Amano shrimp. So there, for example, in this one, there is one little tiny Neocaridina shrimp down here. It's a little dark, but you can see him there in the front. He's not going to be eating any live larvae, but the adults, I have not seen a single adult ever catch a baby and consume it. They like swimming through the light, as you can see, but they're not going after the live Amano shrimp. Now, what I have seen is they will, just like with brine shrimp, as the brine shrimp expire in fresh water and they go to the bottom, the Amano shrimp are going to take care of those right away. And Neocaridina shrimp do that also. So we don't necessarily have to be concerned about collecting 100% of these larvae, because the female actually releases them more or less as they hatch. And that process, in a lot of cases, I've found can take up to a full day. So when you think you've got all of them, you end up finding out that there's still more that you haven't caught. But just in that short amount of time, I have no doubt I was able to catch at least 100 baby Amano shrimp just now. So as an example, we're going to drop these into my Celestial Pearl Danio little grow out that I've got set up a couple tanks down from this one. And you'll see the feeding response of these nano fish is very similar to what it would be with brine shrimp. I mean, they're not complaining that they're not brine shrimp. They don't seem to care at all. So in here, we've got some juvenile Celestial Pearl Danios that I'm growing out. These are all siblings, and as they grow here, they're pretty close now to being mature, but they're not quite there yet. Once they hit maturity, I'm actually going to be rehoming most of these. There's one in particular that is the entire basis of a new project that we've started. And I'll show you that fish here momentarily. But first, let's release these larvae, the old larvae. So there they are out of the K-cup. And it's going to be no time at all before these fish recognize what I'm doing because they're used to this at this point. But each Amano shrimp, as far as the adult females go, from my experience, is constantly in a state of pregnancy. So they will be saddled, which means they have eggs on their back that are developing, and pregnant or buried, meaning that they have eggs under their tail that are developing pretty much constantly. From what I found, the female Amano shrimp are constantly in some stage of pregnancy. And the moment that they release these larvae, they typically molt that same day. And right after they molt, they release a pheromone that tells the males they're ready to breed again. And typically within a day or two of that, they begin moving the eggs that are on their back down to under their tail, and the process starts again. And so per female Amano shrimp, you end up with literally over 1,000. And when I say over 1,000, I'm not exaggerating. Per mature adult female Amano shrimp, over 1,000 larvae about once a month. Now, if you're not like a high volume, dedicated Amano shrimp breeder that has the time and the patience and the tanks to raise literally thousands and thousands and thousands of Amano shrimp, then you have some choices, but they're not going to make it in freshwater. So utilizing them in this way is a natural thing to do. It's very nutritious for these fish who, these fish are still developing. They're just now starting to get color on them. So let me see if I can find the female that I was telling you about. At least at this point, I actually think it might be a male that's in here. There's one in particular that we're going to find that looks a lot different than the rest. And I think, yeah, there it is right there. So you'll notice how much taller the dorsal fin is on this particular Amano shrimp. If I can keep it in focus, look how tall that dorsal fin is. And the tail fin of this CPD is extremely long. The anal fin, when it's hanging down, I'm trying to keep her in focus here. But the finnage on this fish is about 4 times longer than her siblings. All of these fish are from the same batch. So this is a long fin celestial pearl danio, which is a pretty rare mutation to come across. And she was born out of the last batch of celestial pearl danio that I had. In the beginning, I was thinking it was a female, but now she's starting to show a lot of behavioral signs that it could be a male. But being that this fish still doesn't have any color that's made it into her finnage, for the most part, it's a little too early to tell yet if it's going to be a male or a female. But I'm hoping it's a male, honestly. But either way, it really doesn't matter. The start of a new project here, and just a way that, again, if you want to, you can supplement or even completely replace hatching brine shrimp. If you're familiar with Aquarium Co-op or any of the other companies that sell brine shrimp, the last few years have been a roller coaster ride with availability and even pricing. A lot of people have been looking for some alternatives to hatching out brine shrimp, and this is just one of many. So there is kind of an automatic hatchery element to this. The Amano shrimp are just one-way breeders in freshwater. You're not going to have any success raising those larvae in freshwater. They've got to be moved to saltwater. And hey, if you don't want to set up a saltwater tank for them, by all means, that's your prerogative. This is a great option of how to use those babies. Now, if you are interested in raising the baby larvae, I've got a ton of videos on my channel. Make sure you check out my homepage where I even have some playlists for raising baby Amano shrimp larvae in saltwater. I do it in beginner-friendly ways that are really easy for you to replicate at home. So just a really cool factor to this, something that hasn't really been talked about or shown really on YouTube. And I figured it was a great way for me to show one of the many things that I do in order to make things as easy as possible for me, because I'm all about doing stuff the easy way with the least amount of effort. And especially if it's something that's being produced in my own aquarium, like aquarium waste, which I've had tested professionally, and my testing showed that it has all of the nutrients that plants need to grow right in our own aquariums by owning fish and shrimp and snails that we're gonna own anyways, that are gonna produce that waste no matter what kind of fertilizers or substrates you use. You've already got that all-in-one natural fertilizer being produced automatically. So why remove it and pay for a bottle of liquid? Well, this is kind of the same deal. If you own a mono shrimp for algae control, or you like how they look, especially now that they're available in several colors, you can check my channel for more info on that as well. So just a really cool option for you. Appreciate you checking out the video. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.